What's up, guys? Courtney Cox here in the PNC Sports Corner, and I am joined by my dear friend, our Bruins reporter, Sophia Jurksztowicz. Sophia, thanks for chatting with me.
No, Courtney, I mean, we can't be face to face, but this is the second best thing, so I'm happy.
I'm happy as well. First and foremost, how have you been handling the last few months in quarantine? Obviously, your first summer in Boston, and this is what I'm bummed about. You are not able to see the city at all. So for you, this must be pretty weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. A lot of people told me that some of my other friends that I've made, that the city is just like completely different in the summer, and unfortunately, it's been very quiet. But obviously, we've got to do our part to stay safe. I mean, I've been working. I'm so happy that I have hockey to talk about. I'd be going stir crazy if the league wasn't coming back. So I'm really happy to be at least kept busy because I'm far away from my family. And no, it's been good. There's still a lot to see, a lot to like drive around and check out. And like I said, hockey's back. So I feel like I'm useful and I feel like I'm actually doing something I love doing.
Well, I think one of the best parts about you is that you really show a different side of all of the players for Bruins fans because they do trust you. You build a good relationship with them. So during quarantine, with the distance, with this new normal, how are you able to continue those relationships and build upon them so that you guys can kind of pick up where you left off?
Yeah, that's a great question. The league has had such strict mandates, and this isn't anything to do with the Bruins. It's the league about talking to players outside scheduled, interviews or Zooms or anything like that. So I've been very respectful of that because sometimes I do feel like I want to dig for a little bit of a story, but I wouldn't want to put the Bruins in that position. So I've been pretty like strict about sticking to organize Zooms in getting to chat with the players. And the Bruins have been so good with us. We get a lot of one-on-ones. So we have the Zooms with all the media that's invited, sometimes 15, 20 people where you're kind of fighting to get a question. But even just before we had a chat, I had a one-on-one with Brad Marchand and a one-on-one with Jake DeBrusk. And, before we start, we try to catch up and get some nuggets and some cool stories. So first of all, thank you to the Bruins and thanks to the players for being available. But they've been great. And yeah, learning a little bit. I actually have a nugget that I can't share right now. Yaroslav Halak, though, is doing something special when they go to Toronto, something he hasn't done in over 10 years. So we're building a story on that I found out just by chatting with him. So excited to share that with you guys when time comes out. But it hasn't been as hard as I imagined.
Ooh, a little teaser. I love that.
Yes.
Well, this new bubble system will be weird. The Bruins will be in Toronto. You'll be in Watertown, in Massachusetts, in our studio. Have you figured out how you're going to perform your duties once the games return, how you're going to handle game days?
It's definitely still a work in progress. And that's only because whatever the league's doing is still, they figure it out day by day, right? But what I know Nesson will have, which is great, is we are still going to have access to the players via Zoom. So it's not the same. Like the difference would be when I'm in the dressing room, obviously part of the scrums, but I always try to like put my mic away for a bit and, kind of like listen to what the guys are talking about, as long as it's not private. If they're like yelling about something in the room, I get a good nugget about, them chirping each other or maybe something, they had a nice team dinner with their girlfriends and wives or something like that. And that's the best part of my job, is that I'm there to hear that and then I can follow up on that story. But when you're doing a Zoom, you're not in that environment. So you're really doing more like digging, which is great, but it's so much easier to get like a good side story when you're just in that atmosphere. So that's going to be different. And that's my job. My job is going to be to try to get those stories to enhance the broadcast. Jack and Brick, if they throw to me, they're hoping I have something special to share what I learned with the players. But that being said, the team is going to make them available. So I'm hoping to just chit chat with them and get something good. Probably once a day, we're going to get a player and then be able to use that in the broadcasts.
Well, it will be different for you, no doubt. And I think when people see you on game days, you're smiling, you're on the ice, you're ready for the game. But your job's a grind, and I think people miss that that are just watching the games at home. But for you, will you miss traveling, or are you enjoying this time kind of staying in one place?
That's a great question, because at first it was, middle of the season, and I thought this was going to be maybe like a 2-week pause. I feel like a lot of people thought that, or they weren't sure. So at first I was like, oh my God, I could take a breather, catch up on laundry, catch up on life, because it is a grind. It's such a difficult grind, their travel schedule. And I'm not even playing. Imagine like playing, being sore, and then traveling and not getting to sleep and all that. So at first I was like really loving it. And I do miss the road for sure. There are so many cool things that you experience on the road. And being from Canada, I've never really even explored the US. So I've seen some places that I've, like Arizona, I absolutely loved. Washington, I'd never been to Washington. Philadelphia is a great city. So I miss that aspect of it. But no, I mean, what comes with it is the exhaustion. Like, I've really enjoyed being able to sleep in my own bed and not packing and unpacking and packing and unpacking what feels like 50 times a week. So I don't miss that. But yeah, like the hype on the ice, sometimes I'm exhausted. Okay. And I'm like, so, okay, another day, 4 more days left. And I take my phone and I go out to the bench and I do stories from the bench, and I set up a preview. And the vibe on the bench when the music's going and the players come skating out, like they skate by so quickly that my hair blows because they're so fast, right? That's a feeling you could never recreate. And that's something I'm going to miss. But I'm just so thankful I could still find a way to contribute from Watertown.
Well, you mentioned having all of the Zooms, both one-on-ones and the ones organized by the Bruins throughout quarantine. And every single Zoom that I've been on, the players have been asked about how they feel about the league's response to the return to work and play and the COVID-19 protocols. For you personally, how do you feel the league has handled it? And do you feel like they've handled it the best that they can?
Yeah, I actually really do. I felt like the league, maybe alongside the NBA, Adam Silver's a great commissioner, but Gary Bettman and the NHLPA, they were really the leaders, I feel like. Also, shout out to the WNBA. They've done a great job as well, paying their players full salary, but that's a whole side story. When it comes back to the NHL, they did a great job. Like, we are used to the Players Association on any team or any league, and then the league and the owners kind of butting heads often. I feel like they got along really well, and why is because they had a common goal, and that was to get hockey back. Like, we've seen them cooperate in ways we haven't seen before. They even admitted that that everyone was super cooperative and responsive, and it's not like we still don't know what's going to happen. And we're hoping that this coronavirus goes away for good, but we still don't know if there's going to be a second wave or how to handle it. Like, they're going into the unknown just like anybody else. And they're trying to organize thousands of people, money, safety, health. I think they did a really, really good job. And I hope that their efforts are worth it. I hope that we see the playoffs really play out and that a Stanley Cup is hoisted, because that's still a question mark, right? If too many people get sick, and we hope that doesn't happen, will the league go on? So I think they've done an excellent job. They negotiated a CBA for through to 2026, but it was a 4-year extension. The players are going back to the Olympics. Like, they just got a lot done. And I think it's been great. I think a lot of other leagues can take note.
Well, say everything does go according to plan, everybody stays healthy, knock on wood. Most important question, how do you feel like the Bruins will fare in this playoff run?
Well, that is the question on everyone's mind. And the truth is, we know that, they are the best team in the league, and we know anything can happen in the playoffs. But when you go on a run like you did last year, and you pretty much have the same pieces, and they were poised for going all the way, like literally for sure to the final, and hopefully hoisting the cup this time. So there's no doubt that they can do that. But Cam Neely even said yesterday, it's the team that's going to be mentally the strongest. So if you factor that in, I still think the Bruins have the advantage there. I mean, they made it to the Stanley Cup final. They lost. It was a tough loss. They talk about that all year, how that's motivated them, how that's changed their mindset, how some of the younger guys have learned from that. Then you have Zdeno Chara, who's one of the greatest leaders, almost like a second coach. That's what Bruce Cassidy calls him. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, who we just said, Torrey Krug's becoming a leader. I don't think there's a team out there right now that's more equipped in terms of talent and leadership and experience. And so if the team that's mentally the toughest is going to win it all or can win it all, because we know the parity is really big in the league, then the Bruins are also number one, I would say, in that category. Yes, there are other good leaders for sure, but the Bruins, no one did what the Bruins did last year and then kept the team pretty much the same. So I would say their chances are really great. And the way they've shown up to training camp and practice has blown, they're surprised by their own teammates. That's what they're telling us. Like David Krejci's like, I was shocked with how fit and in shape everyone came to camp because they want it that bad. So if that's not a good omen, I don't know what is, but I would say their chances are really high.
Well, we like to hear that, and it will look different, but we do hope that Lord Stanley makes its way back to Boston.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and if life goes back to normal, the parade, like, Courtney, we're praying for it. I'm hoping.
Oh, we are all in on this, and we know that your job will look different, but we can't wait to see what you do. You're a shining star, so we have all the faith in the world in you.
Thanks, Courtney. This was fun.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.